Things just took a sickening turn for the Islanders as what once looked like one of the better contracts in the entire league is now looking like an absolute disaster. We're going to discuss it on this episode of Islanders Digest. Talk about what the Islanders can really do with this contract. The player we're going to be talking about in this video is Ryan Pulock, and it really disappoints me to talk about how much of a liability this contract has become for the Islanders. One, because I was so excited when he first signed it. It looked like it was great value, especially considering what other defensemen were getting at the time. And two, he's one of my favorite players for the New York Islanders. In his prime, he was a great defenseman, but there are a lot of questions on what he is at this point. I'd love to know your thoughts on Ryan Pulock in the comments below. Really quickly, before we talk about this contract, we are on the road to 2,000 subscribers. Appreciate all of you who've already subscribed to the channel. If you're an Islander fan, you want more Islanders content just like this, be sure to be a part of this Islanders community on YouTube. And recently, there was an article written about how Ryan Pulock, according to The Athletic, has the 7th worst contract in the NHL. We're going to link this article in the description below if you want to check out the full thing. But this is just staggering to me to see that The Athletic ranked his contract as the 7th worst, and they do have analytics to support this. It's not just them picking different contracts that they don't like. Statistically, Ryan Pulock's contract is looking like it is going to age really poorly, and already he is not the defenseman he was when he first signed it. And back when he signed it, $6.2 million for what Ryan Pulock was really a top pairing defenseman who was able to, with Pulock, shut down any offensive line in the league. It felt like a steal, but at this point, Ryan Pulock has not been playing well. I don't think this is a secret. And what really concerns me about Pulock, because he is 30 years old, as we're going to talk about in a little bit, he is at the age where you should somewhat expect a bounce back. He still knows how to play hockey. He didn't forget how to play defense. But the one thing with Pulock that is concerning is his game when he was at his best. He blocked so many shots. He took a lot of hits. And considering his injury history recently, I think there's a lot of question when it comes to what Ryan Pulock has left in the tank. Really quickly, we're going to take a look at this chart from The Athletic explaining why this is the 7th worst contract in the NHL, and check out the full article from The Athletic to know the other players, really get a feel for what is considered a bad contract in the NHL. But this being the 7th worst is not encouraging, and especially when you look at the metrics, it makes a lot of sense. Defensively, he seems pretty neutral. While you're not giving up more goals with Ryan Pulock as opposed to other defensemen, you're also not really stopping as much as you'd like. He's pretty much just the average defensively, which is fine. In fact, you need defensemen like that. Not every defenseman on your team can be an elite puck-moving, scoring defenseman. You need guys who are just decent. The issue is the market value for a guy like that is $3 million, according to this chart. Ryan Pulock is getting $6.2 million. And what becomes more concerning is year by year, Ryan Pulock's metrics have been getting worse. It's not like he's just he's no longer who he was before, but he's consistently this guy who is at least neutral on the ice. There are worrying trends. And another thing that's really concerning with Ryan Pulock is the offense has completely vanished, which is a little strange. Ryan Pulock, I never thought was going to be this elite quarterbacking, puck-moving defenseman. He just did not have that full skill set. And while he does have the booming slap shot, he should be able to produce more than what he is, really being below average when it comes to producing offense. And also, this also includes, breakouts, getting the puck out of the zone, really getting the play moving. He is really bad at this point, and even when he's not playing against the other team's top position, he's not really effective on offense at all. Really looking into these stats in particular, the ones that are most concerning is how little he's producing on offense, 5-on-5. Considering that Ryan Pulock plays 20 minutes a game, he has plenty of opportunities to produce on offense, and he's just not. And even more concerning for me is at the penalty kill, he is absolutely terrible. His defensive rating is near as low as it possibly can be. And Ryan Pulock, if you look at the Islanders defense core, is a defenseman who is going to be playing a lot of time on the penalty kill. So while we talk about coaching all this stuff and how the Islanders got a new penalty coach, and that should be exciting because you don't want to see the penalty kill get any worse than it was last season, you also have to factor in some of it just is the players that you have playing. And Ryan Pulock really struggled last season. I'm sure part of that was just due to the metrics of the Islanders' penalty kill in general, but it is very concerning. And looking at just his stats over the past few years, the decline is clear. Earlier on in Ryan Pulock's career, his best season, he had 37 points and also was a plus 21. This was a defenseman that when he was in his prime, he was electric. He was not ever going to be the most dominant offensive player, but he chipped in a lot. He had the big shot that got some really big goals in the playoffs, and you knew when Ryan Pulock and Adam Pelech were on the ice, the Islanders were not going to give up a goal. It does not seem like that's the case anymore. In fact, a lot of times last year, forgetting about the analytics, all that stuff, looking at the eye test, there were so many times where he just seemed completely out of place. And I think a big part of that is I think his skating has taken a step back, which is what concerns me the most. Because you look at Ryan Pulock over the past few seasons, it's often that you're not getting a full 82 games. You're getting around 55. That seems to be at the average 55, 56 games. That seems to be what he plays. Last season, you did get 74 games from him, but I'll note, oftentimes he looked like he was not fully healthy. He looked like he was laboring, fighting through things because he knew the Islanders defense really needed bodies. And I really appreciate that effort, but it's clear that the way he's played has taken a toll on his body, and this is definitely something that's concerning for the Islanders moving forward because they have him signed for 5 more years at this cap hit. And while the salary cap is going up, which should mitigate what $6 million is compared to when he first signed it, it still is a lot, especially when you consider how much work this defense needs. I mean, in 74 games last season, Ryan Pulock only had 23 points. And for a defenseman who plays as much as he does, because that's a big thing you have to factor in, that's solid. It's not solid, but it's okay for a defenseman, to put up just 20 points. When you're considering Ryan Pulock was playing 22 minutes a game last year, and that's all he produced. It's hard for the Islanders to win games when they have a player like Ryan Pulock playing these minutes for them. And part of the concern now is Ryan Pulock, now that Noah Dobson is gone, is their top defenseman on the right side. They have Ryan Pulock, they have Tony DeAngelo, and they have Scott Mayfield. This is looking like a really rough right side. And the concern here with Pulock is not just the contract, it's also that it is virtually unmovable. I've seen some comments when we talked about trades and stuff mentioning Ryan Pulock, and we really haven't made a video talking about what a Ryan Pulock trade would look like, because I think at this point, especially considering the value of this contract, well, I knew that Ryan Pulock didn't look good last season. I thought perhaps maybe it just looked worse than it actually was. I didn't think it was that bad, but looking at the statistics, clearly there are a lot of red flags when it comes to the way Ryan Pulock is playing, and why that makes it so unrealistic to even consider a trade that would help the Islanders move this contract is he has a full no trade clause for the next 2 seasons, making it virtually impossible to move him, even if there was a team which is interested. And my point talking about the statistics is they were so bad, I don't think there would be a team interested, because this $6.1 million contract, that's a lot of money for a lot of time, especially for a player with Ryan Pulock's injury history, where there's a lot of questioning whether or not he's going to be able to bounce back, whether or not he's going to be healthy to play more than 55 games for the Islanders this season, and what he's going to look like in those games. And even after that, in 2027, 2028, he is still going to have a 16-team no-trade list, which at that point, I'm sure it'd be a little easier to move him, considering it's still 3 years. But if there's no bounce back, considering where he's projected to be in 3 seasons based on the way he's played over the next few, it is looking like a real tough situation for the Islanders. And the one thing that does make this a little better, so that it's not a disaster, although considering the quality of this defense, honestly, it's kind of insane the Islanders are spending $24 million on this. I like Alexander Romanov. I think Adam Pelech, when healthy, is an effective defenseman. But they're spending a lot of money here on players who including Scott Mayfield, who I just don't think bring anything to the table. The one thing that makes this better for the Islanders is they're going to have players like Isaiah George coming up. They're going to have Matthew Schaefer. And this is going to really help with this defense, as those players are going to be making league minimum when they do come up. It's going to really help balance this out. But let me know what you think about this defensive core in the comments below. And let me know what you think of Ryan Pulock. I hate to talk negatively about him as a player, because again, this is one of my favorite players. But it did not look good last season. And knowing the Islanders have 5 more years of this, it definitely concerns me. But I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm your host, Patrick Nilan. Catch you on the next episode of Islanders Digest. Let's go, Islanders.